Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to give you why I choose individual stocks over index funds and ETFs for my own personal brokerage. Stick around to the very end because I'm going to give you some very helpful tips. All right, before we get started, you know I'm not a financial advisor, financial planner of any type. I'm just some dude on YouTube sharing his own knowledge and experience. All right, let's get into the portfolio. All right, so as you guys can see, this is a live website. I have a portfolio valued at $200,000. Really, it's $216,000, but for this slice of the portfolio, which is the equity REITs, I want to focus here. So why do I choose individual stocks over ETFs, right? That's the question. And the question, or the answer for that question, is simply because I want to be able to take advantage of companies when there's volatility, right? So let's take a quick example. I have AMT and CCI here. For almost 2 years, they were negative 20 and 30%, right? These are grade A companies with excellent management teams, great prospects, good dividend yield, low debt, or average debt, and I know that these companies are going to perform well into the future, right? We just have some headwinds right now with interest rates being so high. So throughout the entire last 2 years, when these were negative 20 and 30%, I was dollar cost averaging. I was able to buy these individual companies because I know once they recover, I'm going to get that 20 or 30% right there on top of whenever it grows further, right? So there's an advantage there. I can invest or put more money to work in companies that are discounted. So whenever these dips happen, right? Whenever these dips happen, these large macro events happen, and there's huge sell-offs in the markets, it gives investors who are buying individual companies, it gives them an opportunity to buy great companies. And I think that's the reason, or that's the trick to it all, is if you loved company A at $100, you're going to really love company A at $80, right? There's nothing fundamentally changed with the company. It's still a great company. It's just the share price is down. And the share price is down because we as humans are very emotional. When we hear bad news, what do? We pull our money out of the markets, we sell off shares, we move money into different things, right? Different asset classes, different investments. So when stuff like that happens, it presents buying opportunities. And for pretty much 2 years, I was hopping in on a lot of buying opportunities in the real estate investment trust industry, right? We had Prologis here, which had a massive dip, this year, and I took advantage of that. I was able to take advantage of that. This is right where I bought, as you guys can see. I bought into it, and it's since recovered. I wouldn't get that same advantage if I was investing into an ETF like Vanguard's, real estate index, ticker VNQ. I wouldn't have that ability to invest in an individual company like this. So that is, one of the reasons why I prefer to invest in individual stocks, is because I could take advantage of the opportunity when there's discounts, when there's dips, Do you get that with ETFs? Sure. Like an index fund, if it drops, 10%, 5%, 2% here, whatever, that creates a buying opportunity. Great time to pick up more shares, right? Same thing with any dividend income ETF. If the shares drop, it presents a buying opportunity. But, I know that, at least maybe I could be wrong, but I know that the companies that I'm choosing are going to outperform once the interest rates come down. And they may outperform even some of the ETFs and index funds out there, right? Of course, it's kind of a gamble, and past performance is not indicative of future results or future whatever. But, the idea is that I can buy discounted companies at great prices or even bargain prices, right? So that is one of the reasons why I like to choose individual stocks over ETFs, is really because I can take advantage of the volatility and the price dips when they happen. The second reason why I like to choose individual stocks over ETFs is because of my investment strategy. Like I said in previous videos, everyone is different. Everyone's going to have different goals. Everyone's going to have different ambitions. Everyone's going to have different fill in the blank, right? when I was designing this portfolio and buying it, I had the choice, right? I had the choice of going with ETFs, dividend income ETFs, index funds, high growth ETFs, all that good stuff. I had that I came at that crossroad. But when I was looking at my goals, I knew that I had to be a cash flow investor. I had to be a cash flow investor. And dividend paying stocks like REITs, real estate investment trusts, fit the bill nicely. I know real estate. I love real estate. It's one of my favorite asset classes. So, stocks and REITs are stocks and real estates. You have REITs, right? It's a beautiful blend of both. So when I started building that portfolio out, that is kind of what was behind my mind, right? I'm a cash flow dividend investor. And if we're looking at this, and if we're looking a little, bigger picture, I knew that I was going to be living in a low cost country, right? I was eventually going to move to a low cost country. For those who don't know, it's going to be Thailand. And, if I'm having some type of, income coming in, passive income, it's going to help offset a lot of the costs and the expenses, or it might even cover a lot of my expenses. I showed this in my last video. I made $1,100 last month for July. $1,100 for the month covers my rent, it covers my electricity bill, it covers my phone bill, my internet bill, and my water bill. Like, that is crazy that my dividends was able to cover all of that for that month. Of course, it's not going to be like that every single month, but if I'm averaging $760 every month in dividend income, that's basically my rent. That's basically my rent for my condo out there, and this is going to grow, because as I add more cash into the portfolio, as more dividend income is reinvested into the portfolio, it's going to create more dividend income, and this average monthly income will continue to grow. So that was another reason why I chose to go with a dividend investing strategy. It's because of my goals. All right. So when you're deciding what your investment strategy is, it should be based around your goals. Okay. If you don't know how to do goals, go to my Skool. I'll put the link down below in the description. I have in the classroom, I have a whole video on setting your financial goals, right? It's really, really helpful. I hope you guys check it out. All right. So the last reason why I chose to go with individual stocks over ETFs is because I want to have more control over my portfolio. In the investment world, we call this active management, right? You can be an active investor that does active management, or you could be a passive investor that does passive, invest in passive managed, ETFs or passive managed, assets or investments, right? I wanted to take a more proactive, active role in my active. I get it, guys. I wanted to take a more proactive approach to my portfolio, right? To managing my portfolio. I like reading. I like reading everything about my picks, right? I usually use Seeking Alpha to learn about them, to learn about what's going on with these companies, read the analysts. I read bear theses. I read, bull theses. Or indifferent theses, right? People just saying like, it's okay. I mean, it's not something I invest in. I'd rather go with this or that, right? I also like reading through the investor presentations. I like being involved in my investments. It's never been, let me take that back. I've always tried to be as active as possible to understand my investments, right? That is, I think, one of the keys to success is understanding what you're investing in. Because a lot of people, they hop on the bandwagon for certain things. In crypto land, it's whatever new project is out, let me throw money in there, and then ultimately you end up losing it because it's a rug pull, right? And that's because they didn't understand that these coins are all scams anyways, right? Or if you're going to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum, that those are the stable coins. In stock investing, a lot of people were investing in EV, back in 2021. And now a lot of these EV companies' share price have dropped 95%, or people are hopping on, hype train. People are buying Tesla at like crazy valuations. People are buying Nvidia. People are buying, all these other companies that are just getting a lot of momentum, right? But they don't really fully understand what they're investing in. And I believe that is one of the biggest reasons why investors fail, is because they don't understand what they're investing in. You know, for me personally, I understand real estate. I understand a lot of how these business models work with REITs. And what's funny is all they do is buy income producing assets and charge rent. That's it. That is it at the core. You know, but you have technology companies where they might have like some new technology, don't fully understand it. I'm not that smart. I can't keep up with it all. So I just kind of leave it in an index fund, right? I'd rather just invest into an index fund and let the index fund choose for me, right? That's where it makes more sense. But when it comes to my goals, I have to build a strategy around it, and I wanted more control, and I wanted to understand my investments more. So that's why I took a more active, role in the management of my portfolio. And there's nothing wrong with, and I don't want to make it seem like there's something wrong with investing in, index funds. Everyone's going to be different. Like, I'm not taking a shot at tech, right? If I invested in Google, 10 years ago, I'd probably have, I don't know how much money. But again, I was broke back then. I was broke 10 years ago. So it wouldn't have made much of a difference to me nowadays, in today, present day. So, I want to give you guys some very helpful tips, right? But before I do, if you guys don't know, I have a Skool community, link down below in the description. Now that that's out the way. All right. So the helpful tips that I have for you guys. All right. If you're going to be doing anything, and I mean anything, you need to choose a strategy, right? Learn all these different strategies: dividend income, investing, growth investing, investing in ETFs, investing in index funds, investing in tech, right? Understand what you're actually investing in, right? That's the biggest tip that I can give you, and you're going to build your strategy around your goals. If you have a goal to do something, to do X, Y, Z, then your strategy for investment should match that, right? So if you know you're on a good career, let me give you an example. You have a good career, you're going to be at this company for 10 plus years, or maybe you'll keep promoting or hopping around, right? But you're career oriented, you're a professional, right? You know that you're going to be working for 10 years. Maybe it doesn't make sense to invest in dividend paying companies. Maybe it makes more sense to invest in growth, right? Passive growth index funds, passive growth ETFs, because all you're going to do is just be putting the money in there, right? You don't have time to research individual companies. You don't have time to research, the fundamentals, go through reports, go through their investor presentation. You don't have time for that, right? You're a busy professional. So you leave it up to the professionals to just create the ETF or manage the ETF, and you just put money in it and you let it grow, right? So again, it all comes back to your goals. The second helpful tip I have for you is be a long-term investor, okay? Be a very long-term investor. Nothing happens overnight, right? I know there's all this glitz and glamour out there with people making, 100, 200, 300,000x returns with, crypto coins or meme stocks here and there. By the time you hear it, it's probably already too late. All right. That's just the honest truth. By the time you hear about a coin, or by the time you hear about, some meme stock or some hype stock, you're going to be left holding the bag, right? And it's going to be a bag of rocks. All right. So don't be that person. Don't be that investor. Be a prudent long-term investor, which leads me to my last point. If you're going to choose a strategy, stick to it. Don't change it week to week. Don't change it month to month. If you're going to be a dividend income investor today, stick with it for at least 6 months. Stick with it for a year. But don't be married to the strategy. Things change. Goals will change. Your life situations will change. And it's okay to change up your strategy, combine strategies, or expand on the strategy, right? If I was, currently, if I'm a, dividend investor and I have this nice little portfolio here making me a ton of money, but maybe I'm happy with it and I want to do some cover calls, right? I want to introduce some cover calls to this portfolio. Then I can just invest in an ETF and just add it to this, add it to it. It's still an income producing asset, a cover called ETF, I'm still going to get dividend income from it. It fits my strategy, but I'm just introducing a different way of doing that, right? You can also, I could also put in, a tech ETF in here, right? I just want to put money in there and not think about it and get more exposure to tech, all right? Or high growth stock. So I could just do that. So don't be married to one strategy just because that is the strategy, right? Be open to it. Life changes, goals change, things change, right? And you just have to adapt, be flexible, with that. Don't be married to one strategy just because some guy says so, all right? But you definitely want to stick to a strategy and let it play out over time and not be changing it from day to day, week to week, right? Investing is long-term. You have to be a long-term investor. So that'll do it for this video. I hope this video is valuable for you guys. Let me know down in the comments if you like this type of stuff. If you have, maybe some ideas for a future video I can do for you guys. If there's questions, you want answered, let me know. Happy to help. Hope you guys have the rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.